entire session should be more interactive. So let us keep it at 10 minutes to give a quick introduction to Solinas, its achievements till date, and what is the future plan. On a quick way, saying that how this could be taken up to individual houses, or I'm saying individual entities, because we are having a mix of several people in this action forum now. When I introduce the entire context now, you will have a better understanding of what all we are trying to get into, and what are the simple actions that we are trying to bring in. Solinas as a technical or a technological intervention, how this could be used in the context of what we are trying to achieve. We will try and explore how this could be done. This action forum, for your information, is more onto the leakage detection and septic tank cleaning.
Yeah,
that leakage is at the.
So
it is Sripati. That means it is about NRW. If
yeah, it is about NRW. Yeah, very closely linked with NRW. Yes.
I'm Sripati. I'm part of International Center for Clean Water, working on water as a subject for many long years, and with ICCW. And Dr. Hariharan has been our guiding spirit for this action forum. And we are trying to learn from him on how to do many things. That is one way that we would like to start this. And the context that we have been talking for the last three interactive sessions that we have done. We launched in January 13th, just on the Sankranti day. And I think we are getting into some good actions in the next few things that we have started doing. So there are some, quick context that we need to think about for the benefit of people who have just joined. We were starting to do something on 7 stakeholders and 7 thrusts that we can think of for the city action, particularly for Chennai. Probably during the same time, Trichy is also doing something like this on 7 stakeholders, 7 thrusts, 7 thrust areas. The next thing what we have started is 7 WOW action principles, or 7 WOW action theme areas. Whatever we are going to discuss on every fortnightly meeting is would be a part of all the 7 action points: rainwater harvesting, aerators, STP, sewage treated water usage, and many more things like that. Then the third thing that we have initiated, though we have not gone into the depth of doing it, is action groups. Action groups for many of these 7 WOW action points. We have had the pleasure of discussing with Ashok Natarajan, then Mr. Saravanan and Professor Janakarajan, and we have formed a group. As an action point, we formed a group and they have all agreed to work together and all that. Still, we have not yet come to a level of delivering something as a result. So we'll have to work out a mechanism of engaging with each other, getting out with some results. And as I said, out of the 7 action points, 1 action point quickly has emerged on the use of Aerators. And Rotarian Mr. Ajit Nair has presented at the second meeting, and we have got some good results to be shared today from him and his volunteer Harish Ravindran, who's going to, as we heard, that he's going to head the mission. And his mission, or Mr. Ajit Nair's mission, is 100 crore liters for city of Chennai, which is going to be a 1/10 of what we are trying to achieve, 1000 crore liters for the city of Chennai for this year. So with this, there are several other people that are going to join. Let us hear from Divanshu now. Divanshu is our startup entity based out of IIT Madras Research Park. Divanshu, he's been working on a product called Solinas Integrity, which is a robot which travels into the pipelines on freshwater lines and wastewater lines. And the sewage, the septic tank cleaning robots are also being done by them. And they are a very active startup in the ecosystem of startups in Chennai and other places. So he's going to speak to us on or give us some gyan about what could be the ways of doing, the leakage testing in a particular set of pipelines. What is the result of it? What are the benefits of it? and then we will take some questions for him, and then we'll go to Mr. Ajit for his insights on what he has probably implemented and based on the 7 action points. And then we'll take more questions and see what to do in this session today. Dr. Hari, you would like to say something before we start?
Not really, but well, since you asked me, I'll only say very briefly 2 points that Mr. Sripati has already touched upon. One is he talked about action groups. Mr. Nandakumar is here, who is the CEO of the ICCW. He's also been emphasizing on how we have to create a few more action groups in Chennai in order to see that this 1,000 crore target is sub-owned and driven and led by each of the groups. And that's also the reason why we were inspired by what Mr. Ajit Nair is doing, and so we requested him to speak today. The second point I want to make is, most of you who are experts here, I mean, people like Devanshu should know this, that Chennai gets net only about 50 crore liters a day from the grid, from the official grid, which is the Chennai Metro Water. Just 50 crore liters you get. And actually, officially supplied is 80 crore liters. 40% to 45% by official admission of the Metro Water Supply is lost in leakages or in NRW. Now, NRW is not always leakages. Sometimes you don't bill, and therefore it becomes non-revenue water. And in that context, Devanshu's presentation today is going to be very interesting. I'm also looking forward to learn from this. And what Mr. Sripati said of the cell that he has formed with some of the senior experts in Chennai, of Ashok, Janak, Saravanan and others, they will also learn from this, or maybe imbibe some of the things that Devanshu is talking about and take it forward.
So over to Devanshu, you can start your interaction, and let us be very crisp in conveying things so that we get more questions to answer.
Correct. And just to sort of highlight that part, Ashok Natarajan himself had shared an article sometime where he mentioned that the total supply that is happening is about 110 crores, but the actual receivables is only 60. So more than actually half of almost that is actually getting wasted in leakages and so-called theft. And that is by official admission. The actual numbers could be even more than that. So that is one of the sort of key things that we refer to when we try to understand how do we actually make it work. So just to give an introduction about ourselves, the company that I run is called Fortnight Integrity, and we are into robotics and digitalization of assets for water and sanitation. It primarily comes from our thought process that one, pipelines and these sewer networks, septic tanks that we call them, are everywhere. Like every person who is there in the city is associated with that in some way or other. And so far we have been managing it in only manual manner, like whether it is cleaning, inspection, and so on. It's just done manually without any leverage of technology. If you look at the developed country markets, they have very established protocols on how these inspections or cleaning need to be done, but we have not adopted that so far. That is one. Two, we are still very sort of procurement heavy country in terms of these assets rather than maintenance. So in the sense that if you have pipeline networks built in the city, instead of, and when you start having problems, leakages, and the NRW increases, instead of actually identifying with a data-driven manner that which pipelines need to be replaced versus retained, you just sort of start a contract of replacing the whole network in itself. So these are the things that we really want to work on. So I was very fortunate to be a part of the post-budget webinar that happened yesterday, where Ministry of Jal Shakti was talking about how state reducing non-revenue water, and they have this campaign called Har Ghar Nal Se Jal, which essentially means that how we can reach tap water in every sort of a house. And one key thing that came out was the laying out of the pipeline that will be critical, and how do we manage these pipeline networks. So a majority of my conversation today will be focused on the pipeline, and I'll very briefly touch upon the other work that we are doing. So in this the Honorable Prime Minister himself mentioned that checking the integrity of these pipelines and their regular condition assessment will be most critical for us to achieve this mission. And that's really what I'm sort of going to focus about today. Like, what are the technologies and products that we can use to help us achieve this? So this is the context. Like I said, one, we have a lot of existing water networks, and as per the official data, we have to expand more than 1.3 lakh kilometers of pipeline network over the next 5 years. The other thing is that now there is like increasingly smart city networks have started to look at looking at data-driven measures to understand what pipelines need to be replaced versus retained, rather than giving a blanket order of replacing all the pipelines. And the other thing that is there is that people have been talking about, given the water supply, we are talking about 24/7 water supply, becoming a 24/7 water supply nation. The leaks and contamination points that we generally have, they need to be resolved very quickly and detected accurately in order for us to do that. Because otherwise what is happening is generally supply water may, if there is a problem, people would take 2-3 days to resolve it. Until that time, there is no water in the supply. That is the generally challenge that we see in the, and I just wanted to share this context, and majority of you would be aware of this because this is a similar context of every city. So what we want to see is, how do we leverage technology to actually help us reduce non-revenue water, have very early detection of leaks, and do quick resolution? How do we reduce this whole manual effort in doing so? So to give an example, if let's say there is a contamination or a leak complaints that come from a neighborhood, current existing work that people do is a jugaad solution, where what they do is they will have, they will try to identify from which one house the contamination complaint is coming and where the contamination complaint is ending. And they will have this 100 to 200 meter area where they would dig at multiple pits to identify where the problem could be. However, this is a very inefficient way of doing it. The thing that we are thinking about is if you can actually send something inside and we actually have a visual on what the pipeline condition is, you will be able to pinpoint exactly where the problem is. In this way, you will be able to reduce your digging significantly, solve that leak in like a matter of couple of hours, and save a lot of road asset, because otherwise digging of a road is itself a very tedious task and you have to get permission from the road transport and so on. So these are a couple of things that we want to do. And in the long term, what we want to see is how is it possible that if we have intelligent data about how our pipeline networks are and where faults have happened earlier, can we predict also, in the sense that where the load is increasing and we're going to have possible failures, so that we can have regular inspections there. So this is really the thought process with which we are thinking about the solution. Now, this is the product that we have developed. So product, the way what we do is, it's a pipeline inline inspection robot that can go inside any pipeline above 50 mm in diameter. And the idea is that we have a camera which is able to record the entire pipeline. It's actually just like having an eye inside the pipeline, so that you're able to see the challenges that are there. You can also see the things that are corrosion that has happened. You are able to estimate the percentage of scaling, and thereby you will be able to take a data-driven decision on whether this pipeline needs to be replaced or whether you need to retain the pipeline. So this is something that we are able to do. And in terms of actually coming to the data point that I was talking about, right? One of the things that we have seen is every kilometer of inspection that we are able to do, direct cost itself, we are able to save about 7 lakh rupees for the municipality because of the digging, labor, road construction, and all of that cost that is there for them. And the other thing is that typically, even if we are able to find about 5 to 6 leak points or contamination points, that leads to a saving of about 500-600,000 liters of water every day, because of pressurized pipeline that we have. And this is just, we have estimated based on the 8-hour supply of water that is there. So this is what we have seen so far based on our work of like the 10 to 15 kilometers of inspection that we have done across various cities. And we feel that this number will essentially even become better as we develop better technologies. Because right now, even our technology has some limitations in terms of how fast can we do the inspection, how long can we do the inspection, and so on. So as we better the technology, as we leverage better technologies to do this, the cost savings will become even higher, and the savings of water will also grow. So I want to just show a couple of case studies that we have done. So this was a case study where we did in Chennai and Coimbatore, where you can see the condition of the water pipeline that was there. And to give an instance of this, like in terms of data, the total pipeline diameter internally was about 160 mm or so on, but the thing remained after the sludge and scaling formation was less than 100, like probably about 80 mm or so. That was the condition there. A couple of things you can see where the gaskets are coming out, and because of that rubber and everything, the water is getting polluted. So these were the couple of things that we noticed there. In our Trichy inspection that we saw that in a water pipeline, actually, there was a presence of a sludge. So because there was cross contamination in majority of the cities, you will have water pipelines and sewer lines running in parallel. Now you do not really know where the contamination has happened and for what reason. So if you're able to see these broken pipe sections and even the sort of some silting or seepages, you will be able to identify where the problem could be coming from. This was one thing that we did. Then we did something in Bhubaneswar. Bhubaneswar was quite shocking for us because this was a very newly laid pipeline. Like the pipeline was just laid about 5 years back or so. But within that, we were able to see a lot of stones. And this was later confirmed in Coimbatore also. And it's something we are trying to identify as a reason, that what could be the reason that we have so many big stones present in the network. One thing that we got to understand from the chief engineer was that probably because they sometimes dig the pit and don't close it immediately, there could be things that unwanted material go inside the pipelines and they never know what is the condition of the pipeline, so they never really predict it. So this was a challenge that we saw there. This was another seepage issue that we saw in a sewer line where so the walls had started breaking down and that sewer, the sewer had actually started going out of the pipeline in normal groundwater and contaminating it. That was another challenge that we saw there. A couple of other ones that we did in, this was a tree root penetration that had happened, primarily blocking the complete sewer line flow that was happening. And this is quite common that we have seen in the sewer lines because of sewer content that is there. This is quite nutritious in nature for the trees. So they tend to essentially break the pipeline and get inside and restrict the flow. In which case, even though the pipelines were laid like 5 to 10 years earlier, they see a lot of constriction and like blockages in their flow. So we were talking about how we can solve those challenges as well. So yeah, this is a bit on the technology side where we are working on a bit of laser profiling and further analytics to identify, even if the data matter, like what is the effective diameter that has reduced, percentage of the corrosion that has happened and so on. So this is a work in progress that we are doing. Apart from that, what else? So this is about the water part that we are doing. I will briefly talk about the sanitation work that we are doing also, which is we are developing so far India's first robot for septic tank cleaning, where we are essentially developing a cutter and a suction mechanism through which we will be able to clean any septic tank, whether it is a household septic tank or whether it is an industrial septic tank. And we have developed the whole thing keeping in mind the Safai Karamcharis or the manual scavengers who operated themselves. So we have made it so easy to operate that earlier if they were doing it manually, now they can just operate the tractor and they're able to clean the septic tank without having any sort of thing to do with the sludge. That is something that we have done. The sort of product is already built. We are thinking about deploying it and giving it in the hands of Safai Karamcharis after a week's time. So that is something that is a work in progress. And we will be distributing about 10 of these robots over the next 3 months to various groups of Safai Karamcharis. So yeah, then a couple of things about our team and the work that we've done overall. But we're happy to take any questions because I've already crossed my 10 minutes.
Thank you, Devanshu. This has been a good introduction, I believe, for you for the action forum that we are talking about. As we said in the beginning, we said the context that 7 thrust areas, 7 wow actions, and so on. I believe the leakage detection should come under at least one of these, so that the water conservation is definitely going to be a part of your activity, or your intervention will lead to water conservation. That's what we think.
Yes.
And quick 2 questions from my side. I don't know how others are putting themselves. Somebody's raised their hand. Ajit has raised his hand. Before Ajit comes in, I have 2 sets of questions. And one is, we have seen in the Mahindra World City and other municipal corporations on the usage of the robots. Now, what do you think in terms of integrated townships? Suppose I'm not talking about Mahindra World City, but large townships in the city of Chennai. Let us say city of Chennai. Are we able to deploy this robot for this kind of a pipeline inspection, whether it is a very old township or a new township, or how is that? So, do you have any thought on this quickly, and then probably the next question is, when we say septic tank cleaning products you have just launched, automatic or robot based, what sort of support you would require from this action forum for getting into this into many pilots that you have started thinking? So these two are from my side. I have two more questions, two more participants raising their hands.
Sure. So I'll answer the first one first. I definitely think that townships can be a good solution for that, because even townships have large scale of the pipelines that are there. So I have not explored sort of residential townships right now, but I have explored a couple of industrial townships where the factories that are there, they have asked us to inspect the sewer line network and water line networks. So for example, just last week we did an inspection for Asian Paints, and we have been in talk with a couple of other industries like that, also like Capgemini, who are a part of the industrial complex, to do some inspections for them. So this is definitely I see as a sort of potential. The only thing would be that in this, the frequency of these inspections would be less because of the size of the network itself is limited. So that is to answer your first question. The second question, in terms of the support, we definitely require a lot of support in terms of doing pilots. What we believe would be great for us if we can connect with the cooperatives or groups of manual scavengers or corporations who directly have a tie-up with manual scavengers, who can help us, like where we can give this product to the group and they can give us feedback on that. One of our biggest challenges is that accountability part, because we do not want to give it to a contractor where they just keep it with themselves and not use it at all. Or we give it to somebody else where they are actually having the Safai Karmcharis use this and pay for that also. So we want, if any one of you know these groups or have been associated with them, please connect us with them. We would be very happy to sort of give them a robot to try it out and get some understanding from them. And probably just feel that this will be useful for them, we can give them away as well at a very low cost or sort of month-wise model, so that they do not have any asset cost to that.
Mr. Tripathi, can I step in? And
Please.
Devanshu, what I'll do is this. I will introduce you to one group who are working in Chennai, Trichy, I think in other 6 cities. They work directly with scavengers.
Wow.
In fact, yeah. And if they, like you say now, either you give them some low cost or you give them some rental model or whatever, in a way that they are able to, make it cost effective for themselves. Obviously, it will reduce labor for them.
Yes.
And therefore, yeah. So this we will do.
Safai Karmchari Andolan that you're talking about?
No, these are, I won't even know the details. I know he's a WOW member. He's not here today.
Oh, sure. That would be great. Please.
Anyway, I'll ensure that he's connected. I'll speak to Sripati and he will connect you to him. That is one. Second, there are other questions coming. I'll come back later on the second round. I think
Ajit, can you have your question?
Thank you, Devanshu. I've always wondered why there aren't many more people like you in this space, because it is absolutely required. It's all by trial and error. I've been in the pipeline space for a very long time. And when we run into challenges like this, it's purely by trial and error. We break here, break there, and try to figure out where these leaks are emerging from to try and fix them. Now, I noticed that you said the robots that you run into the pipelines, they're like, you need a space of about 70, 80 mm, so 3 inches and above. Are they only on straight runs, or do will these robots be able to get turns and bends or Ys or T junctions that come in the way? That's one part of it.
Yeah.
Second part is a few other players, not in Chennai. I'm glad you're here. Fluid Robotics and a few others who have been in the space in Mumbai, Pune, etc. And they did make some presentations on this. When you said septic tank cleaning, do you have a ballpark estimate? Many people ask me, and manual scavenging is definitely a no-no. The amount of gases that are released, there are people who die out of it every now and then. And consciously aware customers don't want to do it any longer. Unfortunately, if you look at the beachfront, the entire ECR stretch,
there is a septic tank. Yes.
So what do? There is a septic tank and it gets filled up. So it needs to be cleaned up. Metro Water's got these sewage gulpers which go and suck it out. But that's just not enough.
That's not enough, yeah.
Having inside. So these are two things which come immediately to mind. I can see a lot of potential, Devanshu. Connect with you and
absolutely. Thank you, sir. So to answer the first question, essentially, yes, our robots are able to take turns. The only caveat that and the limitation that we have right now is that they're able to take turns in the pipelines above 200 mm. We have not been able to develop a solution right now for pipelines below 200 mm where they can take turns. This is primarily again because of the constraint of the motors that we have. So we are still sort of trying to work on this, right? So that is to answer the first question. And in terms of competitors, what you have seen is, especially fluid robotics, what we have talked to them, they do not do a lot of inspections for water pipelines. They only do for sewers. And sewers meet is easier comparatively because the distance is only 30 meters. Like you do not have to go beyond 30 meters. So even a push cam or endoscopic camera will be able to solve the issue. You do not need robots for that. The place where robots get required is where you have to travel longer distance, because post 20-30 mm, the maneuverability of the thing becomes an issue, right? So, and it's the reliability also. So that's where we come in. Our current solutions, like in the 100 to 200 mm segment of the smaller diameter of the pipeline that we have, which is the distribution lines, we are able to go up to 250 meters in length, while for 200 meters and 200 mm and above in diameter, we are able to go even up to 500 meters. So that's where the technological sort of know-how comes in. To answer the second questions, I do not know what exactly the question was, whether it was like, how do we actually solve this problem in the ECR network?
No. I'm asking, what does it cost your robot?
So actually, cost-wise, we are very competitive. We have seen, like we do not have any benchmark to say per se. The only benchmark that we have in terms of sewer inspection is Bandicoot, which is a product of Zen Robotics. They are selling at about 40-45 lakhs per robot right now. We are trying to price it at about 15 lakhs or so. We do not, and we think that it would be possible for us to do. Right now, of course, the costs are a bit higher because we are doing one product each. But once we feel that we're able to do 30-40 of them, we'll be able to significantly reduce the cost. So that will be the range of
other solution providers to actually do the job, and you'll only sell the equipment?
Yes.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because we think that the challenge with cleaning is that you'll have to get into the septage management also, in the sense of where the sludge goes and so on, which you do not have any understanding about. That way, we do not want to sort of take more than what we have. So you just want to work with like the service providers and sell them this. And we feel that there is enough sort of money to be made for them that they will be able to adopt the solution.
I think we have Mr. Saravakumar Panneerselvam.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Saravakumar Panneerselvam, for joining. I think we have got your contact from Dr. UVK Rao.
Oh, okay.
Isn't it? Yesterday he was trying to talk to me, and good that you have joined today within a short notice. May we have your just a short intro, just to know what you are into, and then you can pose a question.
Yeah. Good evening to all. I am Saravakumar. I am working with Efforts with Private Limited, a Denmark-based multinational company as an assistant general manager projects. See, we are residing at Madipakam of Chennai outskirts, and we are doing plantation in our area for last 5 years. We planted around 5,100 trees, and we regenerated 4 water bodies in our locality. So by seeing this, my friend might have recommended to attend this, I think.
Okay.
In the products, whatever innovative idea put up by Gansu, it is going to identify the trends of corrosion inside the pipeline using robots. And this will be mostly useful for corporation or private companies who are into water treatment or sewage cleaners. As far as we are concerned, we are domestic users. We may be focused on sewage tank cleaning. And only in that aspect, will it replace the regular sewage cleaner trucks with your robot? If you buy some contractor buys and you started using this, will it replace that the sewage cleaning trucks? And the cost wise, how it will be? Will it be cheaper than that? And will it clean complete sewage? Or they have to use parallelly the water tanker also, and for cleaning it fully, finally, they need to have this robot. So only this part may be of interest to us, being a domestic users. So this point demands to self-clarify.
Sure, sir. So right now for septic tanks, we believe that other solutions will not be needed, because we have the cutting and suction solution both. However, what we will need is a storage tank that will transport the sludge after that. But that is not really a thing, because anyway, storage is a separate vehicle that you will have to sort of get, because of the amount of sludge that gets out of the septic tank. So in that way, it will not be an issue. And we are not getting into sewer lines as of now.
Because septic tank and all for water cleaning, we are paying 1,300, 1,500 rupees per tank. If you are going to use a robo and all, it should be cost effective and it should replace those trucks. Then only people will start taking use of it.
Correct.
Then your innovative ideas will be successful.
Correct, sir. So what we have seen is our costing, like I was doing some service-based costing as such. It will come out to be about 3,000 or so. And but the reason I say 3,000, and I am aware that in some cases they're able to do manual cleaning in 2,000 also. But the added, beyond just the water suction, the added cost of people going inside the septic tank is much higher. Sometimes they charge even 5,000, 6,000 rupees to do that. So if we are able to completely sort of remove that part. So in that way, even if we are able to charge about 3,500, then that would be cost effective for people to do it.
Thank you. Thank you, Johnson. If you could share some video which is showing the cleaning of septic tank using your robot, that would be useful.
I will share that, sir. I'll share that with the group.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Johnson. Also, all the best.
Thank you, sir. Please hold on. You'll have to listen to other speakers also. I would request Mr. Ajit to share your actions that have been done in the last 2 months. We are on 24th today. We started on 13 Jan. Probably you have already started doing something even before January 13, but your achievements on the 7 WOW action points would help us do more and more. Over to Mr. Ajit, please.
Thank you, Shripati. Yes, like it was mentioned earlier, I did come on the WOW forum some time back and spoke about the specific initiatives that we developed. So I will not go into the details of each one of these programs. This is just an overview so that it helps you get a fix on what is the cost and what is the impact. Anybody who is interested in this information, of course, at any time can get back to me. There is no secrecy involved, even though it's a Rotary-driven activity. It is meant for the public at large and try to see what is it that we can achieve over a period of time. One small intervention, I know that Hariharan said this and Devanshu also brought it up. So I must share one data which just came to me now. This is an official release by Metro Water. Chennai is expected to face a huge deficit of 713 million liters per day, as the demand is projected at 2248 MLD and supply estimated at 1535 MLD in 2026. These are projected figures for 2026. And they admit that there will be a shortage of 713 million liters. You know why the reasons are. Leakage obviously is one. Whole lot of things that need to be done are not happening because things that go on at the government level, they've got their limitations. So moving on to this, these are just itemized action plans under each heading. The first one is awareness. I shared with you all the poster which we've created. It's just 16 steps of how to save water. Each one of them are very simple things. We all know it, but we don't do it in our daily lives. So when I say, and each poster costs, it can be printed centrally because we've got a printer who's got the artwork ready. At 10, I'm so sorry, this screen's gone wonky. I'll have to share this again. Are you able to see the screen?
Yeah, sure.
You'll have to take out the print option. Take out the print option. Cancel it. Cancel it.
Right. Sorry about that. Yeah. So the first step is just posters. Now here it's of course a notional value here, a perceived value, but a very, very modest figure because we just assume that let one person see that poster and save 10 liters per day. It's going to be a whole lot more than that. Many people are going to see that poster and the saving is definitely more than 10 liters per day. And that is the figure that you see where we have done 1,000 posters and arrived at the figure of 36 lakhs. We will definitely do 3,000 more, which is why this goal, well, it's only a few months since Water Mission started. So before the end of the year, which is June 30th, we can now be predicting this 100 lakhs, 1 crore liters of water with just posters. Second step is aerators. Now, this is by far the biggest runaway success that we've had in saving and conserving water. For a meager cost, now these are the costs, special pricing we've got from Neopearl, which is less than half in some cases or 50-60% less than the market price. So 37 include your courier costs at 40, 20 and 140 rupees if you take the old taps or the metal ones which cost about 140. The saving here has been worked out at just 6 liters per aerator per minute. Again, I've seen up to 10, 12 liters per minute. Okay. And this has been considered usage of a tap for 15 minutes. A sink tap, for example, runs for 1 hour, 2 hours, depending on the amount of usage right through the day in terms of cleaning utensils and washing and everything that happens. So a very, very modest estimate. This itself comes to 34 crores that we have achieved so far, which is 90% of what we've done overall. And we know that we will do, and 10,000 is as of 31st of Jan. We know we will achieve at least 30,000 aerators through the spread that we have. And that's where we have this 100 crore liters coming just out of simple mechanism of installing aerators in every single tap. It can be in any office, residence, commercial building, hotel, hospital, any tap. Rainwater harnessing, not harvesting. Harnessing is about 60 days that it rains in Chennai, capturing the rainfall and taking it to your underground sump after cleaning the water. The muddy water, which is your first flush, goes into the ground like usual. But the good clean water through a little, there's a little vortex that is created with this rainy filter. The good clean water is piped to your underground sump. We've done just 8 so far. We're doubling that to show, instead of 8 lakh liters, 16 lakhs. Again, this potential to do is a lot more. It's not been a real focus area and the thrust has not been huge. Recharge wells. Now, this is something we've just done one, November, December, Jan. We've had so much of rains, we really couldn't do it because the water table rose. The idea is these recharge wells. Let me just share another image. Right. Now, this is the current initiative which we're launching right now as we speak. It's on now, where we dig 15 feet into the ground, not the notional 5-6 feet, because that is where you enter the sandy strata and the water percolates into the low-level aquifer and fills up the water table. The water table comes up. We're doing this with Rain Center. Shekhar Raghavan is of immense help here, and there's a set of contractors who are ready. Wipro's come up with a sponsorship to do this on the roads. Now, that's a campaign we've launched down. We want to do 40 in March, and the drive is on. What is applicable to clubs? It's open to WOW Forum. Anybody who'd like to do it on the roads, where the water table is at least 15 feet, welcome. The same subsidy will be available to you also. Instead of 26,000 rupees, it'll cost you just 15,000 rupees to do it on the roads. Criteria is number 1, water table as low as 15 feet, low-lying areas, because that is what will prevent flooding. Of course, cooperation with the local AEs and JEs and all, because there'll be water supply lines, cables and whatnot running through. Without them, we really cannot do this on the roads. Now, getting back to the original statement, wall art, again, awareness, public image, and making sure that there are eyeballs of how to save water. The same thing which you said about posters is now put up on the city walls, 100 feet wall, 150 feet wall. So every pedestrian or cyclist or biker or guy in a car or a bus keeps seeing it, that recall value. I just put the same figure as the posters down here. We haven't done any so far. We couldn't due to the rains, but now we're set to launch this and try to paint. Government says, yes, take our city walls. They're willing to do it because Inline Chennai is all about that. And here we have a public service message. Education. Now, this is an interesting project which has been launched just yesterday. It's called Hydrothon, which we did for the school kids last year. What is launched now is this. It's about educating children and using the kids as a medium to propagate conservation of water. It's not only about solutions, it's about media and communication. It could be art, it could be a campaign, it could be marketing, it could be data gathering. So it's a competition that we've launched for road tractors this time. And of course, adult kids, let's put it that way, because it's 18 to 30 is the age group where they register online. We've got World Talent Economy Forum and Ganesh Incubation and Enterprise Center as our partners here. World Talent Economy Forum, as you see in this little box on the right, is offering scholarship in foreign universities, publication of research papers in international journals, and even support for innovation ideas with financial support as well for truly meritorious children. Otherwise, the competition round is purely open to road tractors and college kids. Harish, who's here with us today, will be spearheading it on behalf of Road Track and getting these people to register. We have a plan where we have an online workshop to guide them and mentor them. And then it leads to the competition round, culminating with World Water Day on March 22nd, where we have a lot more plans. Hariharan's going to be helping me out with a few things on this seminar and the celebration of World Water Day in March. Back to the main statement. Well, education, we believe, including awareness, is as important as just initiatives that we talk about. Sanitation is not about saving water. It's about ensuring that, well, what Devanshu said a little earlier, fecal matter is going into the ground, polluting the water source, and then everybody, that whole community, we give up, Rotary does a lot of toilets for the poor, Swachh Bharat scheme. But the fecal matter pollutes the water source, and then whatever little saving these poor people have is spent on healthcare because of various diseases that come out. Plus, we've got a few experts who have come up with instant solutions on how to build a quick toilet. It just takes a day. It could be just panel walls which are fitted in situ, or rings which are stacked one on top of the other, all pre-made and prefab. Vermification is one of the solutions which one of our experts have got to solve this problem of attacking that fecal matter, decaying it, and making sure it doesn't enter the water source. Alternate sources of energy. This is again an emerging technology which has been around. IIT has been in the forefront. The Incubation Center have launched several companies in this space. The point here is very simple, that AquaGuard or Kent or any of these domestic, the popular ones, 20-liter model weighs at least 50-60 liters of water. And yes, we've heard solutions of people who pipe it to washing machines or throw it on plants, but then it's really not a long-term solution. If there are 100,000 machines, you're talking about 50 liters per day into 100,000 machines. That's a lot of water being wasted. So an air water generator needs no water source. If there's drought, you don't have, it's not like you're deprived of drinking water. No bubble tops, but it extracts water from the air, purifies it, mineralizes it, and gives you clean drinking water without any wastage. Little expensive solution. We've just done 4 so far. We hope to do more. Like I said, it's expensive and it's really not a thrust area for us. It's something that's added on here because of promoting conservation of water. Wastewater reuse. We've not been done much in this space. There's just a notional value here. But a recent analysis showed where institution which was using 30,000 liters per day can save 20,000 liters per day. Their water dependency reduces and they need only 10,000 if they do treatment and reuse, not just for gardening, but also for flushing. The challenge here with retrofitting in an existing installation is the entire pipeline needs to be modified and you need 2 sets of pipe, one for flushing, one for domestic. The WCs on the urinals need to be piped out separately, and the wash basins and shower again get the non-treated water, whatever water source they had in the past. Drop dead. Now, this is a very interesting, I don't know how many of y'all have seen this video which went viral. My friend Abid Surti from Bombay has been very effective in doing it door to door. We intend to launch it now that this fear of corona has lessened and there is a little more breathing space available, where a plumber will go door to door in a 500 housing colony. He knocks on doors and says, hey, do you have a leaking tap? I'm going to fix it free of cost for you. Of course, it doesn't mean fixing leaking pipelines or changing taps. It's just the O-rings and washers, because people hesitate to change or, well, repair a leaking tap. You think it's just a drop. But if you measure the volume of the drop, a small drop is at least 20 liters a minute. A big drop is 30 liters a minute. Now, if you do the math for thousands of leaking tap, it's going to be a humongous amount of water. Here again, because we have not launched it, we are starting in March. It's a value that's given there as projected is low. We could possibly do no. World Water Day, I just spoke about it. Work in progress. We will have eminent speakers coming in for this World Water Day, and it will also be the finale for Hydrothon, the competition round. Sculpture, well, I've said Besant Nagar here, but getting space out of the government is difficult, but we have identified Pondi Bazaar and a couple of other places where we're working with artists to create a monument, an eco-friendly monument made out of possibly waste or recycled material, which will have, again, awareness, again, about creating impact, again, about reminding people that we need to save water. There is some sponsorship. The people who have come forward would like to lend their name to something like this. Hopefully by World Water Day, we'll have one and more as we go along. And finally, celebrity event, again, based on awareness, again, about spreading knowledge, spreading information. Rotaract will be the driving force here, along with Interact, where we try to get 1,000, 1,500 children into this audience, not like a celebrity to attract the youth, but make a presentation about what we can do. Now, if you see the tabulated results, that figure, the second last column is what we have achieved so far in the last few months. That is 35 crores. And in red, the last column is where we projected 114 crores as an ambitious target before June. So this 100 crore target is easily achievable. All it takes is volunteers. It takes a lot of time and effort, no doubt, but we need more people. We need WOW to step in. We need the Citizens Action Forum to come in. We need residential colonies, hotels, hospitals, anybody who has got the bent of, yes, there are problems where they say, oh, why should I do it? My neighbor did it, it's not working, or somebody else is trying out, it really doesn't achieve much of results. But we just got to keep plugging on. We just got to keep going on despite the problems. It's something we've got to look at on a long term of not 1 year, maybe 3 years, maybe 5 years. We'll get there. Thank you very much. I'll be open.
Thank you, Mr. Ajit, for inspiring us once again from the several initiatives that you have shared with us now. And as I said in the beginning, the Aerators seems to be the quick wins that we can think of. It's again a question of we are trying to listen to many people on how they are changing their minds now. Aerators or education or awareness or hydrothon or reuse, septic tank cleaning, sanitation, anything we'd say, there should be a mindset change that we have to pass through. Otherwise, any of the initiatives that we are trying to achieve is not going to happen. So the first milestone, I would say, is that the mindset, psychological mindsets, how we are going to pass and then try achieving whatever numbers that we are trying to bring in. And this, the 35 crore liters that you have put in, we will have to, take it to a next level. We'll have to take it to the next level, but we will again offline come back to you on how this 35 crores has been achieved from the point of view of the psychological mindsets, how it was crossed, and how people are using it now, or how people are able to sustain the savings. Once we have got the savings, how we need to sustain it is the biggest challenge. So there are many people whom we have been talking. Some people are in the group also. In this today's participants from Madipakam, even Mr. Panniselvam, who happens to be from Madipakam, and UVK Rao, who came in the previous session, he's still very active in taking it to several streets. I spoke to one Mr. Rangasamy, who's part of the Ramnagar North ward of Chennai, city of Chennai. Today he was unable to attend the call, but he's having around 5,000 households, 5,000 individual houses in the Ramnagar North alone, which is roughly around 60 to 70 streets. All are individual houses. All are part of that association, Ramnagar North. With your intervention, Mr. Ajit, we will have to go to that kind of community, wherein at least 100 households out of this 5,000 households, at least 100 start putting this something on Aerators, and we
much more.
100 is a pilot. Again, the mindset has to be crossed here. That's the only challenge that we need to put in. So, Mr. Ajit, the second thing is we have an intern also part of ICCW who's part of this meeting today. And yesterday we were just analyzing what we can do from ICCW, and she shared a point. You talked about the hydrothon. He was saying student army. Why don't you form a student army or a student ambassadors of change for this not only hydrothon but the whole activity together? So this is her thought. We are trying to bring out the minds that could be a part of this, and we will again come back to you on how do we achieve this with your intervention. And there are several colleges like UVK Rao was last time.
Mr. Ramkumar wants to speak. I think he's raised his
Yeah,
hand.
Ram Kumar is also there. I will request Mr. Ram Kumar to say something on what he has observed.
Thanks a lot, Tripadi. Am I audible clearly?
Yes.
Yeah, and a wonderful presentation, Mr. Ajit. Beautiful. You see, to summarize, I'm an alumni of IIT Madras, and I've been doing a lot of work on practical rainwater harvesting in the last 20 years with Indian Oil also, with a lot of awards. What I use is, for example, Chennai needs only 1/3 of the rainfall which falls to make us water comfortable. India is using only 8% of the rainfall. In fact, I was a panelist in the National Water Mission panel also. Spoken. So what I want to focus to say is this: what I use is graded gravel RWH pits. That means pits filled with blue metal, simple pits. And recently in Indian Oil building, we did in March in Nungambaka High Road. We straight away could dispose of the tankers. And during the heavy floods, there was no waterlogging there in Nungambaka High Road. And my article has come in Prakriti Indian Oil magazine. I'll share it in the group. In fact, my concept is now rain harvesting stormwater drains. That means with graded gravel pits. I saw the pits in your diagram, which are made of concrete rings. What I use is graded gravel pits, which enable radial as well as longitudinal percolation of water. And in petroleum stations, normally we don't allow any hollow space. And this becomes 1/4 of the cost of that. And it is strengthening the soil because you are replacing soil with a harder material, which is porous. And I have tried in Kamakodi Nagar. I'm staying in Kamakodi Nagar with about 1,000 dwellings. In my own house, we have improved the well from blackish water to reasonably good water now. Kamakodi Nagar also I have been doing a lot of work because we are yet to get Kamakodi Nagar after Vellacheri in Pallikarna area. So maybe I can share a focused presentation with you people so that you can try this graded gravel pits in the streets also because they are cheaper and very, very accident free. And we can try in the stormwater drain itself. In fact, this is what I have already summarized. I will share my article, 2-page article today itself. Then if you are able to line up a focused presentation with me, I can explain the intricacies, the cost saving and the success stories. I have tried in Andheri Colony, Bombay in 2011 with an award from Indian Oil. So I think I can share this with you. I think you can try this. It will be much superior to the rings what you're putting. Because they allow only percolation at the bottom, and you are creating a hazard. Even if a squirrel falls, it will die. Difficult to clean. I can share in detail. I can give you a focused presentation. I think, yeah, Tripadi, thank you.
Sounds good, Mr. Ram Kumar. I'm sure some of what you're saying will be very effective. So let's just explore the possibilities and see the pros and cons of.
No, what I can do is maybe with about a few of your people, 5-6 people, or I can share a focused presentation with you.
Ajit, that suggests that you should invite Ram Kumar, Saravanan Kumar, for instance, to see that they join a action group that you create probably. For instance, when Sripati says there is 5,000 homes in an area, Ramnagar North, he says, how do you get a group formed which can address this and ensure that you breathe life into this chart that you have got? See, you're showing about 10 crore liters here under row 2. All the others are very small. How they add up to 100 crore liters is one question you will have to address. The second one will be on this 10 crore liters. Can you tell us how many buildings that is, or how many homes, or whatever you had in mind when you say 10 crore liters, row 2? I see the other one, for instance, awareness, and then you write a number. Well, that's speculation, because we don't have a targeted zone where we can create activity. Therefore, I'm taking the aerators one that you have put there. Can you tell us, therefore, how many homes that is?
Okay, so aerators is a very simple calculation. 10,500 is what we had achieved as of December 31st. Okay.
What is 10,500? Liters or
aerators? Number in quantity.
Numbers of aerators.
Yes.
Now, so do you assume, say, 4 aerators to a house or 5, or what do you do?
It's 7? On an average, if you take 2 wash basins, 1 sink and 2 showers for a
4
apartment. So that's 2 + 2 + 1, 5.
5.
That working on an average, it varies depending on the flow.
No, see, why I'm asking this is, if you have to, let us say, achieve 100 crore liters out of only aerators, let's assume, how many homes do you need for that? That is your 5 aerators into what you said of some 4 or 5 liters.
Yes, 30,000 aerators will give you 100 crore liters.
Okay, that means I will say divided by 5, about 6,000 homes will give you 100 crore liters.
That's right. That's right.
So if I take, say, Ramnagar North, and I got all 5,000 homes there done, 100%, at your, at your concession cost of 37, 40, 50, whatever the price is, you are saying that 100 crores can be achieved from 5,000 homes, one shot.
Exactly.
So where can, for instance, if Mr. Ramkumar says he has been working with the IOC for some 15, 20 years, he must say, look, IOC has, this many homes. I don't know how many. Now, Sarana Kumar is sitting in Madipakam. I don't know how many homes he's got. Can you tell us how many homes you got in Madipakam?
Here also will be around 5,000, sir. Because we are.
There you go.
So you got 200 crore liters. Where are you talking, Ajit? Where is 100 crore liters now?
See, this is the reach. This is what it's about, reaching out to
how
people.
do you, therefore, Ajit, now you have a job. That is, you have to now pick on these two people, Sarana Kumar and Ram Kumar, invite them to be part of your action group for aerators, and ensure that both of them get you 100% of the 5,000 homes.
Penetration.
I mean, of course, who is the person from Ramnagar North, Sripathi?
I think one small point.
Yes,
my focus of work has been basically rainwater harvesting. That means
I got that.
And one more point on the water save.
See, I'll tell you why I steered that.
Because
you're coming from a technical point of view. This meeting is trying to see how we can reach conversions.
It will be a combination of different methods to achieve the success. Yeah,
I agree. I take your point. I take your point that for example, you mentioned a petrol pump. One petrol pump, how much water in a year do you think can be saved?
Yeah. I think I will answer this question. First I'll answer for Indian Oil Building. In Indian Oil Building at Nungapaka High Road, I got the calculations.
Not a building. I'm saying there is a petrol pump.
A petrol pump also I'll tell you. See, petrol pumps, there are different areas, large format, small formats and all that. Based on the area, recently I had given a suggestion at Ranipat that I can share it with you in the next presentation. Then one more
all
point.
I'm saying is this: if you can tell us, for example, that one petrol pump means 2 lakh liters per annum. If you were to say that, I mean, I can work it out also. But I'm saying, then we say, okay, Chennai has got, say, 500 petrol pumps or some number like that. Then we know we can ask somebody in Rotary or elsewhere and say, let's see if we can run a campaign only for RWH for petrol pumps. You see where I'm coming from? If you tried that, then we will get another target that we can achieve, Mr. Ramkumar.
I agree with you. I can give you the details when we meet next. Now, one more point is, one more point, even in Kamakodi Nagar, where I'm staying now, for example, there are about 500 plots, maybe 1,000 dwellings. And we've got a park at Kamakodi Nagar, 1 hectare. Because of rainwater harvesting, roughly 10,000 cubic meter of water I could take it to the ground. So Kamakodi Nagar itself, with the association, if you run a campaign, because I'm staying here right away, that also will be very successful.
So we'll take
different combinations can be there.
Ajit, you have to be the captain for this. Talk to Ramkumar, Sarun Kumar.
In the case of the Kamakodi Nagar, I can definitely help because association is well known to me. And in the park, we have saved about 10,000 cubic meter of water we have taken into the ground. And I want to make it better now. Right now, I'm taking 60% water into the ground.
Ramkumar sir, your area water is so salty, no?
Exactly. My own house, my well was 11 years back, 35,000 ppm. In the rainy season now, it is less than 500 ppm. Today, when I measured, it is 1,000 ppm.
Yes.
I'm meeting 40% of my requirement from my well. By roof rainwater is going into the well along with the building.
How do you test it, Mr. Ramkumar?
I got a ppm meter with me.
You see that? You see, this is
I got a ppm meter, TDS meter with me. Another advantage is I'm also studying the well. From the bottom of the well, when you take the ppm is more, I'm studying from the top because my water table is on the ground in rainy season. Summer it is 7 feet. I take the water from the top, I measure it.
It is close to marshland, sir. That is a problem.
So my point is, this total saline water, even Kamakodi Nagar Park, what we have done, so many wells adjacent has improved. People are reported to me.
You know, Sripati says,
I think Kaputinar also we can do a lot of good things.
empower every RWA with a TDS and how to measure. People like Mr. Ramkumar do it in 2 minutes in his house. Why would you not have the RWA expert do it? For instance, Arun Kumar's
The
got
PPM
5,000
meter costs only about 300 rupees.
We know.
Yeah.
So I'm saying,
Yeah.
for instance, Arun Kumar, that's what our Ajit is also saying. If in, say, Madipakam, you decide to train 5 people, what is train? Talk to them over a cup of tea that you give them and say, this is the machine. You go and use it and tell them in 5 minutes as to what they should do to test the TDS. That's it. And then collect data every day from each of those 5 or 6 people who are going to do this many homes. Or you can have each of them 300 rupees. I mean, you call a friend over and take him to, cafe coffee day, you have lost 300 bucks. So buy one system for every home, I'm saying. If you are willing to buy something like that, Vikram Gulecha, I'm telling you now, you want to buy, what is it called, Aerators, 1,000 homes. You talk to us tomorrow and we will give it to you at the same price that Ajit is talking about. In Bangalore, we'll give you Vikram. You keep your commitment of giving us 1,000 homes, Vikram Gulecha. Ajit is operating from Chennai. We have got other friends here who are wow friends here who will give us the Aerators. You tell me when you want Aerators, we'll give it to you.
It's across the board.
Sir, we are ready to support, but we need to get convinced first. So how whatever the amount of water gets saved with your aerator, whatever the things you are saying, we should get convinced.
You know, I'll tell you who will convince you. One 12-year-old girl. Ajit Nair has got one film. He will send it to you. We will send it to all of you. One 12-year-old will convince you with a film of 3 minutes.
I need to install my home and I need to...
Please do.
Absolutely.
Nothing like doing it yourself. I would appreciate if you actually measure what is the quantum of water coming out of your tap right now. And
if our Sripati agrees,
nothing else will convince you.
Yeah, Ajit, if we have consent or permission from Sripati, you can show that 2-minute film for all of them. And that girl at 12 years will convince them. You and I are not needed. We are,
I know,
yes, but Sripati, is that okay for you?
Sir, we are in touch with around 15-20 welfare association here. You just have the details about your aerators and rainwater.
First, Sripati has to say yes. Is it okay for us to show that? For Ajit to show that?
We are already 7:05 p.m. now.
Exactly.
7:05 p.m. now.
Yeah.
We have few more questions for Divanshu and Mr. Ajit, and for the common the participation. Nandakumar has raised his hand. May I have your question, Nandakumar?
Yeah, but he has to speak. But before that, back to Mr. Ramkumar. Since you have a connect with IOC, and IOC has some 25,000 or 28,000 outlets in India.
Yeah.
Now,
Right.
if there is a way, you can tell us that in Chennai, in Bangalore, in Trichy, in Hyderabad, places like that, you give us if there is somebody in IOC who gives us the number, the list of petrol pumps there, unless we have a way of finding it out from the web. We'll ask our WOW team also. What will happen is, you can tell them that the entire RWH for all the petrol bunks will get done by some team that you put together. In Bangalore, we will give you a very good team. There is Vijayaraj Sishodia, he's here today. He's one of the RWH experts in Bangalore. Mamta is here. She's also an RWH expert. People like that, we will give you in Bangalore. You have enough people in Chennai. Chennai has been doing RWH forever. Mr. Sripati knows who all they are. So keep this in mind. If you can lead such a team for only petrol bunks and RWH, we will see how we'll support you with a few more people who can execute for you.
So my friend is Cochin IOCL head. I can get the list of petrol pumps for Cochin.
Who? Mr.
That?
Saravana was talking.
Oh.
Yes, sir. He's Kannan, my college mate. He's the head of IOCL in Cochin.
Okay. So you will head that team. Can we ask you to head that petrol pumps RWH kind of one action group for Chennai?
Yeah. We will.
This is what our Mr. Nandakumar is saying. He'll speak now. He said, I think about 2 weeks ago, he said, we need smaller groups of people, leaders, not simply people, who will know how to lead such action initiatives. And that's the only way we will be able to prove it.
Mr. Saravana, you're based at Chennai or?
Yeah, I'm at Madipakam, sir.
Madipakam.
Oh, I'm in Kap. We'll meet sometime. I'm in Kap.
We planted some trees in your IIT colony also.
Yeah. I think kindly visit my house also. I can show you what we have done.
Yeah, definitely, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, Nandakumar, yes, please.
Yeah, okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I've been listening and I found it quite inspiring to listen to whatever has been discussed so far. So carrying on from what Dr. Hari was saying in terms of action groups, what I'm seeing is I just wanted to share my thoughts so that it could help us to organize ourselves a little better. One is from what Mr. Ajit said, Aerators is a big, I would say a game that we could play to reduce water consumption. So Aerators is one, I would say, a team which can implement aerators. Another seems to be rainwater harvesting, which is preventing runoff of the rainwater into the sea or into the water body, which cannot be later on used. Third area is NRW reduction, which Devanshu talked about. So there is possibly something we can do. All these are more or less mutually exclusive because one is demand management, others are supply management, one is on existing water, one is on future conservation of water. So there are multiple streams that we could develop, and all adding up to 1,000 crore is nothing. I'm sure we can exceed that. And then there is something on recycling of grey water or recycling of water or treated water, used water usage. And there are other ideas which can come from teams. So there are 4 or 5 streams that I'm seeing, which are, let's say, running horizontally, led by some people who are experts. For example, Mr. Ram Kumar can lead the rainwater. Devanshu and team can look at the NRW reduction. Maybe ICCW, somebody can take up recycling as a source of water. Aerators, Mr. Ajit has already led the way, and there are many more, I'm sure, who will join. So this is on one side. Then there are experts who are, I'm looking at a matrix kind of a thing where I think you mentioned Ragashri is talking about student kind of movement, right? Then we are talking about promotion of hydrothons. So there are expertise which may be required by these teams which are running aerators, and so there could be people who can offer expertise and some who will run with the ball, right? So if we could create this kind of a structure, and already I heard something about 35 crores to date, unless I've heard wrong. Mr. Ajit Nag, you said something.
That's right. What we have achieved is 35 crores. Projected is 100 crores.
35 crores in just second month of the year. Am I right?
It's actually from August to December.
Last August to December. So 35 crores in a small way. I'm sure if it multiplies into several housing or colonies, 35 crore would be nothing, and 100 crore would also be nothing. So is it possible for us to put some kind of a scorecard, fortnightly scorecard? Sripati, I'm just posing this to you to see.
We can.
Whoever is leading various initiatives can put some number, and Mr. Ajit can say, okay, 100 crores is what I have in mind, but looks like I can now boost it to 300 crores or 400 crores, depending on the enthusiasm that has got generated. So then there is a sense of achievement, and then there could be a sense of, competition or a spirit which says, let me do more, and more people can come on to this, because success breeds, motivation and more success. So if you could, maybe next meeting, we could look at 35 crores from one source, rainwater harvesting, some measurement can be done. Then we may find 1,000 crore is achievable, or we may even exceed it. This is what I just wanted to put across to say, if we can have some teams, we could let those teams put their own targets. Then we could start looking at what is happening on a fortnightly basis and what help they need. There is an expert panel which is anyway willing to offer the help to all the teams. It could come from other places. It could come from Bangalore. It could come from anywhere. It doesn't have to be only Chennai experts, right? Vijay Raj could definitely give us solutions, and vice versa. Chennai give to other cities as well. So I'm looking at something which would be a little more structured, and we could take it forward in a more brisk manner.
Mr. Nandakumar, on this, more than NRW, I'll call it, condition monitoring or whatever Devanshu is doing. Now, see, he raised this issue of, septic tanks, cleaning, and therefore a community of manual scavengers and such things. We can form an action group for that. I think Nikki is here. Nikki, there you are. I can see you here, Nikki. Devanshu says that he can give manual scavengers at a very nominal cost a device which will help them. Go on, Devanshu, can you explain that? Nikki will respond to that. He is now presiding over a program in Tamil Nadu in some 6 or 7 towns, and I'm sure he will give you some people who can take this system that you have got. And we can form, Mr. Nandakumar, one action group for that.
Sure.
So, we have just developed like the robots for septic tank cleaning, and of course, like we have gotten it like developed it with the feedback from Safai Karamcharis who are part of Safai Karamchari Andolan. But of course, like we want to do the testing now and want to see how effective that is. So we have gotten the funds to develop these robots at a very nominal price, and we want to supply it to as many Safai Karamchari groups as possible and support them in.
Nikki, have you understood? Do you want to respond to Devanshu?
Yeah, I've understood. We're currently working with about I think 7 or 8 SSGs in between Trichy and Coimbatore, and
Wow.
who would be very interested in testing something like this out.
Do you want to know what price he can give it to you at, so that when you next go there, you can give them some?
Yeah, I've more than pricing. Like I'd want like a bunch of collateral from Devanshu, so that like I can present it right to my team here too. So I mean, yes, I mean I would like basic details now, but Devanshu, I'd like to connect with you offline for more details.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
the cost will not be an issue because a couple of the initial reports that we've gotten are fully funded. So even if we are able to just get the feedback, I'm very happy to supply one at a free of cost. So
Yeah, Devanshu,
Oh, fabulous.
based on your donors and their expectations,
yes.
you could develop this prototype. I'm not calling it a prototype. The first commercial product,
Yeah.
and validate it in different sections, and that itself be.
That's what we want to do. So that's why I said even if there is no costing involved, we will, as long as we get the usage and feedback, that will be good enough for us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mr.
we can
Nandakumar,
definitely. Yeah.
You go on,
Sorry.
Nikki.
No,
Go
no.
on.
I was just saying we can definitely help with that in terms of feedback and
Thank
testing
you.
with at least 2 cities, maybe 3 cities across Tamil Nadu.
Great. That's
Lovely.
great, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nikki. I will ensure that Mr. Sripati or somebody connects you to Devanshu, and you
Wonderful.
take it forward from there and see
Wonderful.
how Devanshu supports it. And you see, you heard Mr. Nandakumar also speaking. He's saying, see, he will know how to talk to Devanshu about this, the entire process of his investor and what they will do. See,
Sure.
finally, the end person, the guy who's doing it there shouldn't pay too much money. And Devanshu wants to
Sure.
see if he can, collect enough data to take it forward for himself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
Back to you, Mr. Nandakumar. Question to you. If let's say to go back to what Ajit was saying, and between Madipakam at 5,000 homes, the other one that our speaker
Ramnagar
mentioned, Ramnagar North, 4,000 homes. Ramkumar's own place, he's saying 1,000 homes in his enclave. So between the three, we got 10,000 homes. Now,
Yeah.
Ajit says that, if it is 10,000 homes, from what he told us as math, it becomes about 300 crore liters, I think.
Let me give
Very
you one.
ballpark figure, 500 liters per home.
Yeah,
Okay.
for example, I'm staying in an apartment which has 256 homes, and I've just given it free, Neopal, free to our committee members, to get their buy-in. Okay, I'm one of the committee members, so I took one and I tried it. And I think there were some people who were asking for evidence, and I'm saying I took a 1 liter bottle and I filled it with the existing tap, and it took 7.5 seconds to fill up. And then when I used the aerator, it took 18 seconds to fill up. Okay, I've also recorded it on video. So my committee members, and I said, look, there is a 60% saving. Okay,
Saran Kumar, you will be convinced in 3 minutes of seeing that film.
Not 3
we will
minutes.
send
Give me
tonight.
40 seconds and I'll play that video, because this audience is now talking about action. And there's nothing speaks better than this little video.
I know, yeah, okay, but
If you're- unless you're running-
he's very concerned. It's already 7:16. He's concerned about time.
The video is
Sir,
available.
I suggested to form a WhatsApp group connecting all these team members, so we can discuss across the team also. WhatsApp.
It is there already. The group is there, so we have been posting
Sounds
all
good,
the
sounds good.
messages.
Okay.
Post it on the group also.
I am not there. Please add me there.
Just one little add-on, if you don't mind. Found one challenge we found initially when I said, we took some time when we launched it in August. One of the challenges is that we need the aerators readily here. Prakash Murthy, who has already come into one of your sessions, he's the local distributor for Neopal, but he keeps small quantities, and that's at the commercial retail price. What Rotary has got is a pricing from Neopal, which is why.
Fair enough. We will extend that, Ajit, in Bangalore.
We got that with a local. Now we've developed a vendor that cost to cost, they will supply to anybody who needs, because it's for conservation of water and not for commercial use.
No, we'll keep the rules. We have put them. I'll send you the rules also.
Same guys, it's coming from Delhi, the same guy who BK connected you with. So if it's a large quantity, it can come from there to anybody. It doesn't have to come through Rotary, it doesn't have to come through WOW. It can be just anybody who wants to get it at the large quantity.
See, I'm saying even at the price at which Neopal offered us, okay, I'm finding that 2 to 3 months is the payback.
There you
go. At what cost per 1,000 liters?
Sorry?
When you say 3 months, what have you taken as water cost?
See, we are buying about 70,000 to 1 lakh liters per day.
No, per 1,000 liters will be how much, therefore, per KL? Cost
per
of water
KL to 90 rupees.
100 rupees. Okay, fair enough. So at about 100 rupees cost, you are saying 3 months you can recover the money.
Because 256, I just looked at the number of taps, not at the showers and other places.
Sure.
If you saw the case study that I presented last time, Metro Zone, taking just 10 buildings, 60 apartments per building, when they finish fitting in all the apartments, is 12 crore liters in just one housing colony.
It's a big saving.
And they buy water, mind you. They buy water every time because they do not have water.
I want to give another feedback that one of our committee members said, I don't see any difference. So he's saying that means the water flow, the cleaning efficiency and all that seems to be okay. He's not feeling any difference in the effectiveness. But the water loss, water saving is there, which is...
Right.
Mamta, the aerators details have already been sent once, but we will send a mailer out on aerators separately to you once again with the whatever protocol that governs it.
And recharge wells also.
Yeah.
Mr. Chandra, you had some question. You raised your hand initially, and then you have posted some question also.
Chandra,
I'll be in touch. Okay. I wanted to ask. You have already sent me details, Hariharanji, but I thought I would ask you one question. Remember that. See, every tap is different. So suppose existing place, how do we do it? And more than that, the plumbers needs to be trained.
It's very easy, madam. It's not difficult at all. There are two types of aerators. One is for the modern taps where it's very easy to fix because the spout, you just remove the threaded inlet and fix this remove the sediment filter and pop this into it. That's it. But for the old taps, you remove the tap and fix it before the tap.
Sir, I'll ask. I think Hariharanji will guide me.
I'll explain.
The thing is that even new companies where they are going.
This is for the old taps.
New existing house also, when I'm telling them about aerators, whether it is there. See, as a consumer, people are not able to make out whether
we'll solve that. I'll solve that for you. I'll send you a film that a 12-year-old has made. Any adult will be ashamed of the lack of understanding that an adult brings to these things. I'll send you these two films are there, plus a few other things. I'll explain that. We'll explain that to whoever you want it to be explained to.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, over to you, Sripati. I think your time it's now 7:21. You have to take over and see what.
Vikram is also suggesting some name, Gaurav Mittal, on plastic aerators. The number is available. We can share that also.
Sure.
He has purchased 500 units from him at 10 rupees per unit. It has been 3 years. They are perfectly good at my location. That's what he's sharing. Vikram, thanks for the information. Chandra, you had any question before we move on? You had a question on...
No, sir, not a question, but a suggestion. When you talked about children getting encouraged in this water program, we can incentivize them by giving them prizes related on water, maybe few aerators, few water purifiers, something like that. And the scoreboard thing is very interesting. We announce it to all the schools and tell them whoever is the leader will get so many prizes. So the more the prizes, the more they will advocate the idea.
You had a question.
The school children thing is very exciting. I can bring in all the adult tinkering
Scorecard is a
lab.
very good idea from Mr. Nandkumar. We'll take that up. Dr. Raj, do you have anything to add? Thank you for being here. Good morning to you.
Good evening to all of you.
Good
I
evening.
think this is an excellent discussion. I'm requesting ICCW to be the coordinator because, as Nandakumar said, we need somebody to pull all these groups and report monthly that this is what is happening, this is what has been saved, and publicize it to the government level, to all levels possible, through the media. ICCW can ask for some time with the local TV channel, whatever, Surya TV, whatever, and make it saying this is what has been done. It's not theory, it's practice. So I request ICCW to become the leader here in this, collect all this data from all these people, coordinate
I'm sure
that,
Sripati,
and
the
publish
young intern, what is her name? Is Ragashri.
Ragashri.
Yeah, I guessed it. I'm sure she will be able to devise with the mentorship of our Mr. Nandkumar. I mean, so many IIT alumni are here. You know, they are all people who will crunch the number and give a scorecard. Not a problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Thank you. Wonderful. This is a great discussion.
Yeah.
Divanshu, there is a question from Chandra. I think he has forgotten to ask the question or call now. He's saying, do we have drilling cleaning mechanisms as an attachment, which also cleans as it goes further? Divanshu, do you have an answer for this?
Sorry, I got a call. Can you repeat that again?
No, Chandra, can you repeat that question? If you remember that. He's asking, do you have a
No,
drilling?
you have this probe which is already going through the pipeline. I wanted to know if you can put some cleaning mechanism also, like a rotor.
It's actually
it goes through the pipe and comes out as a pick. So that would be making the whole thing interesting.
We do not want to do it purposefully because primarily, like, there is a good chance of pipeline getting damaged. Because even though there is a silting available and the tree roots are there, if we cut it out, there's a good chance of pipeline getting damaged further. So instead of actually resulting in a saving, this may result in a damage. And we've talked to municipalities also, and they prefer doing it separately.
Sir, it depends on the material you choose. It cannot be some rugged thing like a drilling bit or anything. You have some material like silicone and other thing and higher admixtures.
But in then you will not be able to cut the thing. You will not be able to cut the. You can do desilting.
Anyway, we will look into it.
Yeah, you are
be making your job easy, right?
Sure, yeah.
Sure.
I don't have many more questions now. We have probably coming to the end of this session, today's session. It's 7:24. Now, since we expected, the RWAs, that is from Ramnagar and others to join, we will take this message forward to Ramnagar North and many of the associations in Madipakam through Mr. Saravakumar Panniselvam on these three aspects. First one is how do we make quick savings? I would say quick savings using aerators. With the help of Mr. Ajit and the group that we are going to create, action group, we will quickly get into the number of 10,000 households, adding Mr. Panniselvam's group or the number of households and Mr. Rangaswamy, who is a part of Ramnagar North, and many more RWAs that are a part of this entire action forum. They have not joined today, but we will reach out to them, create a group again and try and bring out some numbers for the next fortnightly meeting that we are planning. That is one. And as Nandakumar has been saying, let us form these small minor action or tiny action groups, so-called, in terms of RWH and petrol pumps. That is one action group that we can think of. Second would be on with Divanshu Kumar's help. Can we get into manual scavenging or elimination of this manual scavenging using the products that he's going to offer? And probably Nikki would help us. Nikki, you are all, also there on getting to the several self-help groups that you have been in touch with from the Coimbatore-Trichy route to see how this could be used as a feedback mechanism for Divanshu and to get into more areas or more locations. These two are the quick things that we wanted to probably do it in the next 2 weeks that are going to come. And if there are any other thing, the third one is on creation of this student champions or student ambassadors that we have put across. Ragashri, who's also listening, we have told her that we can quickly latch on to something like this, and probably the next action forum, we should be having a list of schools, educational institutions who would be interested in getting into this. But, probably Mr. Ajit, you can help us on what is Hydrothon all about, and Chandra, who is saying that he's going to give us some quick gifts to people who are doing lots of good initiatives. We'll try and assimilate something quickly, and probably 22nd March could be a launch of something like this, wherein you recognize these young people, and they start the journey now. They start a journey on becoming water warriors for the city of Chennai. So this is where I feel that we have gathered today all these three important points. If there are any more, you can add, Dr. Hari.
I have started to look forward to your very crisp summaries. 4 action points. I will put it up in the mailers also. We will send it to all the people.
Yeah.
Very clear. All your 4 points are very good. We'll come forward and see how we can. I think this meeting, I must say, this meeting has been very, very educative. Lot of learning personally for me. I can't speak for others. I'm very impressed with the fact that, there are people like Sharan Kumar, 5,000 houses, Ram Kumar, 1,000 homes, somebody else, 4,000 homes. This is amazing. So, I think there's a lot to be done here.
We are missing Mr. UVK Rao and others who have even 10 folds of this. 5,000 into 10 would be his numbers. And you said, 100 crores is nothing. We will be able to say cross 1,000 crore liter within the next 6 months, I believe, in terms of.
I hope so. Aapke muh mein shakkar, as they say. Ajit, I'll tell you one thing. If 1 hour before or 90 minutes before your figure was at 100 crore liters with 35 crores done, this in the next 4 months will become 200 crore liters.
Let's go.
With all these champions.
Let's go. I'm ready.
This kind of synergy with, look at Mr. Ramkumar, he's still there 90 minutes later, he's sitting in a car and is listening to us. That is commitment, to me. Thank you. Actually, Mr. Nandkumar, thank you for suggesting this idea of getting Divanshu. I think we have a lot more there. There's no time to discuss, but I will offline take up with him also and see how his idea of, for example, when he says 50 kilometers of inspection has got him 600,000 liters per day, 600 KLD, he says. That means what, 200 million liters per annum. Fantastic figures Divanshu is already talking. So how do we take that forward and help him is another thing we will definitely discuss with Divanshu as we go. Over to you, Sripathi. You have to close now.
Thanks everyone for joining. Vijay Raj, you have been a great supporter of all our initiatives. Though you are in Bangalore, you are trying to join us and give us some suggestions during this entire action series. And we have several other people who have started contributing. I again thank Mr. Ram Kumar for patiently listening for 90 minutes, sitting in your car. I don't know for what purpose you have come out, but still we are very thankful to you on every time you keep enlightening us with all your initiatives. And special thanks to Harish, who's spearheading some of the initiatives of Mr. Ajit Nair's initiative. We will have to, with this forum, we invite everyone to come to ICCW, have a chat with us, have a feel of what ICCW is all about. We can do something in Chennai. Thanks, and Ms. Mamata, you have been sharing a lot of thoughts. I know she's not here in this call now.
No, she's there. Mamata is there. She's there. And Mamta, Ajit will send you that Hydrothon poster also. We will ensure that it is coming to all people so that it can be shared with other people also.
Ragashri, I think you have been listening. You can say hi to our panel of experts here and see how we can work together and give them something in terms of results.
Yes. Good evening. I'm Ragashri from ICCW. It was my privilege to listen to you all. Very informative. And I'm looking forward to work, getting some ideas onto the table. So yes, as Sripathi sir had said about the student, including the student community, I have a strong feeling that would be a very fruitful way forward. But it can happen with all of your support. So together, we can achieve a lot.
Can you put together that scorecard and help both Mr. Sripathi and Mr. Nandkumar on that, or maybe under their guidance?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So that it can be presented in the next fortnight probably.
Yeah, she is a student of VIT Chennai, graduated from civil engineering. And she has worked with Professor Liji Philip also in the past, and Dr. Indumati Nambi. And lots of experience, lots of thoughts coming up. We are trying to do something together on this.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Dr. Hari, for steering us, for guiding us on all these action forums, and lots of things to be done. Every action forum, we are learning. There is
You're being humble. I can tell you, Chennai is inspiring, and I'm hoping Bangalore is learning, because Usha Kini is here, Vijayaraj is here. They're all the founders here of the Bangalore Forum. And today, Hyderabad is not here. Tichi signed up, but he is not here. But the thing is that there is a lot of learning you are offering Bangalore. Already you are only 4 vows old, and you're already, inspiring some action. Thank you so much to all of you.